desert landscape surrounding California's Salton Sea is a stark paradox, and for me, it really brought some conflicting emotions. This blighted region is equal parts environmental tragedy and open-air gallery. This place leaves you simultaneously unsettled by its portrait of ecological devastation and creativity and artistic expression. It really felt welcoming and unwelcoming for me at the same time. The Salton Sea is the largest lake in California, and it was created on accident by the California Development Company in the early 1900s. It was an ambitious irrigation project that built canals from the Colorado River to the Imperial Valley. What seemed like a promising future for these farmers ended in disaster with reoccurring floods that breached the engineering controls and flooded the entire valley. There was a major undertaking with the help of the federal government to finally seal off the Salton Sea. Now, when the 1960s rolled around, this area became a major luxury destination. It was marketed as the Salton Sea Riviera, but the landlocked lake eventually started to turn toxic. The only water coming into the lake was agricultural runoff, and there was no way to restore it with fresh water, and the area was slowly abandoned. In recent years, the lake is receding significantly, and the dust from the dry lake bed is causing some serious health hazards in the area. There's an absolutely incredible documentary on the history and the environmental impacts of this area. It's called Miracle in the Desert: The Rise and Fall of the Salton Sea. It's written and directed by Greg Bassinian. I highly recommend it. This was our introduction to the valley as we left Joshua Tree and were headed towards Indio. You can see from this why the dust from the Salton Sea is so problematic. As we left Indio and headed towards the Salton Sea, we passed by several date farms. It was a great reminder of the agricultural significance of the area. Now, we were driving from Indio down to Yuma, and so we decided to pass along the east side of the Salton Sea and do some sightseeing. So we were driving down the east side of the Salton Sea, and out of curiosity, we wanted to stop. So we just basically pulled over on a side road and drove down here. It does stink, but not too bad, but it is a slight rotten egg smell here, and it is just a wasteland now. So if you stop in here at this state park, you can talk to the ranger who can give you a lot of information about different places to see and check out in the area. And it turns out that the north half of the Salton Sea, they're trying to recover and make it like a swimmable area. Right now, they said in the cooler months you can swim in the Salton Sea. I personally wouldn't, but no dogs or pets are allowed in the water. You're not supposed to ingest the water. I guess there's a very harmful algae, similar to that toxic algae bloom that happens that we've been hearing about in the news lately. In the summertime, there's absolutely no swimming. It's very toxic. I personally wouldn't get in the water at all, no matter what the time of the year. But there's a nice campsite here and a place where, it's a state park managing this area. I didn't realize that. What I had read, I thought it was all kind of off limits, but apparently not. This campsite behind me is where all these structures are that people take photographs with when they come to this area. And what's really interesting is that the government has put all these bales of hay out here, thinking that it's going to absorb the toxic dust from the lake bed. And the hay bales are only like 1 feet high off the ground. Dust blows up and over. So I think that's kind of a ridiculous notion that that's going to do anything. There's also this large community of what looks like abandoned trailers, but I think people are living here. This is one of the most strangest places I've ever been. There's an old movie from the 80s, I think, called The Road Warriors that this reminds us of. Now, many people love the eclectic art that's in this area, but for some reason I felt extremely uncomfortable. So we didn't stay very long, and we got in the car and we headed towards Salvation Mountain. This is Salvation Mountain. Salvation Mountain was a massive labor of love and act of spiritual devotion. After having a profound spiritual experience, Leonard Knight spent the next 3 decades building this sculpture to spread one simple message: God is love. His goal was to spread the teachings of God and to inspire people through his unique folk art mastery. For 28 years until his death in 2014, he painstakingly constructed the mountain. He sculpted it out of adobe clay, straw, and discarded materials like tires, automobile windows, and he painted it all with vibrant colors. He lived in this area this entire time without the benefits of electricity or running water. So they have people here that greet you and tell you the story, and they also make sure it's being protected, and they do take donations here so they can maintain the site. The original creator died in 2014. There's some very interesting stories about his life. I kind of wonder what they do to keep the paint preserved on the dirt. You know, if it's a special kind of paint or if there's a special kind of coating. It must be just maybe very thick. Doesn't seem like it would last, especially if it rained. How does it stand the test of time? I bet that the guy working here probably lives here, would be my guess. In case you're wondering, out here in the middle of the desert, they've got a couple porta potties here as well. I believe they do accept donations to maintain it. This is one guy's mission. I believe he had a vision and dedicated his life to painting all this art, and it is a beautiful little spot to come visit. And now we decide to drive through Slab City and East Jesus to see what all the hype is about. I had seen several YouTube videos about this place in the past year, quoting the lawless city in the desert, the last free place in America. And here's my unpopular opinion. I just don't buy it. What I see is a place where squatters are allowed to live without any property laws. It's kind of a homeless paradise. But the police do patrol the area, emergency services are available. There is cell service in the area. You know, these locals cannot survive independently. They can't grow their own food in this terrain. I'm sure there's some interesting art, music, and interesting locals to talk to, but honestly, I did not feel overly welcome. I did not feel like these people wanted tourists gawking at their homes. I would love to know what you think of this area. I was honestly disappointed in the amount of trash and not knowing what kind of damage they're doing to the area without sewage. I was just not interested in roaming around in this place. I'd love to know your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.